I wanted to talk and walk through you, an investor or a buyer, an actual deal, right? I wanted to do a live recording of a deal from start to finish. Maybe we'll get there and we'll produce some of those videos for you to actually see the nuances, the up and the down, the stress, sometimes the confusion that's created by agents, sometimes the pressure that's created by buyers, sometimes the pressure that's created by sellers. And when a deal successfully closes, kind of like a lot of fun to actually look through that, especially in Dubai. In the UK market, it's pretty simple. I've got a friend who's selling property in the UK. It's easy. You go, you select a property, and you tell your solicitor, this is the property I want to choose. He'll do the transaction and he'll talk to the solicitor of the seller. In Dubai, it's a lot different. The agents are involved. They aren't lawyers, and the real estate regulatory authority forbids us to give lawyerly advice. But whether we like it or not, we end up guiding our clients either to speak to a lawyer, or we give them some kind of suggestion and recommendation on how to handle a lot of things. One of the things that I started when I started doing this business was my father told me, like, look, Fahd, do not promise anything that you can't hold your word to. It's super important. Like, your words should be your bond, and if you give your word to somebody, it's very important that you hold onto that and deliver what you're saying. So this was many years ago, and I was selling a 2-bedroom apartment. This was Dubai Silicon Oasis. For some of you that don't know, Dubai Silicon Oasis is leaves of property, but this was one of those good buildings over there. It was one investor who had 4 properties. He entrusted my mentor at that time to sell all 4 for him, and I was doing the legwork, like the grunt work, really the tough work. Anyways, I had found a buyer for a 2-bedroom apartment. Good, happy. The buyer agreed to all the terms and conditions, and he said, I'm free around 9:30 and I'll come and give you the 10% deposit and sign off on the form to show my seriousness at about 9:30, 10:30. I think him and his wife ended up in my office about 10:30. I got all the sales and purchase agreement. We used to call them MOUs back then, but MOU is not really the correct term. I got the sales and purchase agreement ready. I'm ready to take the 10% deposit. He comes to my office and he tells me one thing. He's like, look, Fahd, we want to move into this apartment and live in this apartment. There's a tenant that's living there right now. How do you guarantee that this tenant moves out? Now here's the backstory on the tenant. The tenant, the apartment was being rented by a young lawyer who was going to school to be a lawyer, and his friends used to crash there. So when we visited the apartment, like, one of the rooms had, like, I think it was like 20 mattresses, and the other room had many more mattresses. Like, this person was renting it, used to travel from another city every time to Dubai, and this 2-bedroom apartment was his, like, bachelor pad where he could rest before he went to university class. But he was a mature guy, like maybe 40 years old or something like that, and his friends would use the entire apartment to crash there, play video games, just hang. It's like a bachelor pad, right? So I spoke to this guy and I said, look, the people who are buying this apartment want you out. All he said was, don't worry, it's my friends living there. We have like a little bit of a gap between our communication. The guy spoke completely Arabic, and my Arabic's like just at passing level. But he said to me that, look, we don't care, we're gonna move out of the apartment, we don't really care, it's just my friends crashing there. So I told him at 10:30 p.m. at night that, listen, no problem, the tenants are moving out. And he looked at me and he said, Fahd, your word that they're moving out. Because if I'm not gonna sign this document, I want it in writing that they're moving out, and I want it guaranteed, otherwise I walk away from the deal. I gave them my word, obviously I want to close the deal as well. Comes time to transfer. The transfer was a lot of drama as well. At some stage, the buyers did not have enough money to close the deal, but because we had the 10% deposit, the seller wouldn't let them back out, and the seller said, look, if you walk away from the deal, I cash in the 10% deposit and you lose this money. So lo and behold, the buyers end up going through with the deal, but on the day of transfer, they wouldn't pay us our complete commission for 2 reasons. Number one, the wife comes to me and says, look, if I pay you all this commission, we can't eat for the rest of the month. So, me being a softie and my mentor being a softer person, then I said, okay, you know what, give us half. The other half, they actually kept back because they wanted the tenants out, which obviously I had promised them would. Now, here's the thing. The moment the apartment transferred, I went to speak to the tenants, and the tenant said, well, yeah, while we are paying about 45,000 dirhams in this apartment, and everything else in this vicinity is now about 80,000 dirhams. So there's like almost double the rent, so we're not moving out. Oh my God. Now, I've given my word to this person based on the word I received from the tenant that we'll move out. We don't really care whether we crash here or somewhere else, that they're not going to move out. And in Dubai, it is the law. And I am fully on the side of the law that you need to give a tenant 12-month notice before you can push them out of the apartment. And there's only 3 reasons that you can push the tenant out. Either you want to sell the apartment, you want to live in the apartment yourself, or somebody, your immediate relative, and you have no other apartment you can live in, you gotta prove that. Or there's extreme renovations that need to you gotta take on into the apartment. Extreme renovations that are making it unhealthy for that tenant to live there. Yeah? So this is what the tenants are like, there's no way I'm moving out and paying double the rent unless you find me an apartment. I said, but you gave me your word. Now this is on the phone. I don't speak his language completely, unfortunately. He doesn't speak English completely. Now we're talking on the phone. I got a girl involved who spoke Arabic, another agent, trying to convince him. I thought maybe a woman's voice and a woman's way would help him understand the dilemma, right? Because here are people who bought the apartment solely to live in it, right? They don't want to not live in it because they're already paying rent somewhere else. They've already canceled their tenancy on that side. They want to live in this, and I gave them my word. Now here's what a good agent has to do. I could have, if I wanted to, walk away from my commission, which was not that much, and said, look, sorry, they promised me, I'm walking away, I can't do anything. However, a good agent makes his word true. Yeah, your word is your bond. You go to the end of the earth to make it bloody true. And that's what I did, right? I decided this ain't gonna work out on the phone. Gotta have a face-to-face meeting with this lawyer who's trying to become a lawyer. And I sat down with him. I said, listen, now I don't want to get into his ethnicity, but I'll say this one thing to him. I said, your people, your ancestors, when they give their word from the tongue, that's it. There is no two ways about it. You tell somebody you're going to do it, you do it. There is no two ways about it. There's a book, Donald Trump's first book that he wrote, The Art of the Deal. He talks about how he went and he bought Tiffany's blog so he could build Trump Tower or something like that. I don't remember it. I've read it about 10 years ago. But he had an early morning breakfast meeting with the chairman who was authorized to sell the land. The chairman agreed with Donald Trump and he shook his hand. And I remember in the book, Donald Trump writes that he quickly pulled out a napkin. He said, I'm not going to wait for the lawyers to draw up a deal. He quickly pulled out a napkin and wrote the deal down, right? So you're going to sell me this piece of land, this place for this much money. It's like heart of New York on the corner, right? I forget where it is. And he shoved it towards the chairman and said, like, please sign it. And the chairman looked at Donald Trump, the president of the US, and he said, listen, young man, I'm from an era where our word means something, right? That's what it was for me. My word meant something to the owners. I needed to fulfill it. And I told the previous tenant, your people, when they give a word, that's it. You make it full. You gave me your word, I gave my word to them. If I wanted to be difficult, I would have taken it in writing with you. I would have asked you to then leave, right? But you need to now kick out your friends and get out of there. And I'll try to find you something at the same amount of rent. But in the end, he understood my dilemma. He was a very nice person. And he said, you know what, we'll move out. The only thing now, check this out. I went all the way to the extent of arranging the moving truck company for the tenant to move out. And you know what happened? I think I ended up offering to pay for the movers as well to get them out, right? Because at the end, what ended up happening was the movers were asking for, I think, 300, 400 dirhams more that they wanted to pay. I called the new owner of the apartment. I said, listen, I'll pay them, just get them out. I've arranged the truck, just ask them, we'll pay them, don't worry, because I think those guys don't want to pay a lot of money. The moral of the story is, look, when you deal with an agent who gives his word and holds to it, it's better. What you as an investor should do is be wary of all these nuances that happen in the Dubai market where people change. I've got tenants who promised to leave and then didn't leave. And sometimes agents who are green behind the ear will not know how to tackle that situation. Next time, maybe I'll share another deal that I did in Jumeirah Lake Towers and the kind of mess that we had to go through it. And in that one, we were not successful in getting the tenant out, but he had good reason, and there's a long story. But in this one, I just want to share with you, like, we go the mile to get the bloody tenant out, right? So that the new owner can benefit from actually the apartment that he bought. But you as the buyer need to be careful and know the nuances and the things that can go wrong and right in the Dubai market, right? Dubai market's great. I was just training some agents today and I told them this, look, the Dubai market, the changes and the regulations they have brought in the last 15 years, no other real estate market has had that in the world. I challenge that. Bring it to my notice and I'll accept defeat. I'll even take a bet on this. No other market has put in regulation to protect both the investors, the sellers, the buyers, the tenants, as Dubai has. I challenge you to bring me any other market that's developed such sophisticated regulation. Even India has come to Dubai and taken parts and bits from their regulation to implement it in India. It's a big market, right? India. So you need to, as an investor, know about this, work with an agent that helps you out. I hope this helps you. If you want more stories on some of the deals and the nuances, I'd love to share with you guys more. Hit the subscribe button, press the bell icon so that anytime I release a new video, you can learn about it. You can go about happily investing in the Dubai real estate and getting value out of it and not lose money. Talk to you soon.